Today we covered quite a few points relating to the swing with the driver. First off, before we start, just show you the swings that we were looking at. So this is the one in the middle earlier on in the session. And the one on the right is what we looked at a little bit later on in the session. We'll just show you Luke Donald here. Okay, so really what we talked about was the position really at the top of the backswing. If we have a quick look at the video in the centre, just as we take you up to the top of your backswing again there, something we've touched on a little bit over the last few weeks. So there we're saying that your hands are a little bit behind yourself and a little bit narrow or a little bit too close to your right shoulder. So the gap between your hands is a little bit too narrow as your hands collapse to the top of the backswing. And also we said as a result of that you're getting the club face slightly open at the top of that swing, causing you to have to rotate your forearms a little bit more as you're coming down into that golf ball as well. But again, as we're looking at that position there, because we're now trying to correct the position on the way back down, the swing gets a little bit too wristy. In return for that, the club gets outside of your hands, slightly outside of the golf ball, and then the other part of the golf swing we looked at was the rotation of your shoulders. So there, the club head, is outside the golf ball, working slightly to the left, and as you spin your left shoulder out a little bit more, again you get your shoulders there too much open to your target, and that's pulling the club across to the left hand side. Now, if in that combined with no rotation or a lack of rotation with your forearm, the ball is just starting off to the right hand side, and obviously with that movement across the golf ball is making the ball spin over to the right as well, causing you to hit those slice shots that you've been experiencing. So we had a little bit of a look at your swing a little bit later on once we've made a few changes. So we were concentrating more on the position at the top of the backswing. So if we take your club, like I say there, went back to sort of one of the old drills to try and get your hands a little bit higher up. Now there's a much better gap between your right shoulder and the club. So there your hands are much higher up. Now ideally we're probably looking to get your hands more sort of in that type of position there. So if we have a quick look at Luke Donald here. Okay, so you see the position that Luke Donald's in. There is the angle of his left arm, say just a little bit steeper than yours. So his hands are just a little bit higher up. So again, it's just trying to achieve a much higher position with your hands. And then from there, what we talked about in drills previous weeks was to actually drop that club on the inside. But like we said today, you're just getting that club occasionally a little bit too far on the inside. So what we're looking for now is that you actually drop the hands, so it's from a higher position, but then the hands drop down into a much better position, much better plane, and then we're actually looking for the club to be on a flatter plane on the way back down. So if we take this club up to the top, and you can see as we're coming back down, get it into position. So there's the plane of the club on the way down. Like you say, that's getting a little bit wristy and it gets outside of your hands, whereas in this video we try and drop the club back on the inside slightly. Now that position there is a little bit too flat with your hands a little bit too behind, so we're not really concerned too much about that position at the moment, but what we are trying to recreate is the angle of that shaft. The angle of the shaft there is much flatter in plane, so it's easier. That will get the club head behind your hands a little bit more, allow you to deliver that club from the inside into that golf ball itself. So if we have a quick comparison with McDonald, again there, the angle of that club very similar to the swing plane of what we looked at later on for yourself here on the right hand side. So as Luke Donald now releases that golf club into the golf ball, you can see it's going into the ball from an inside position. The one we did earlier on, like I say, you just get a little bit wristy, the club gets outside the ball, and then after we've worked on the swing itself, so the clubs are a much flatter plane, coming into that golf ball, you can see there as the club comes into the golf ball from an inside position. Just as we're looking at that plane, in that position, there, if we go one frame more, so just as we're coming into that golf ball, you can see there the difference in the angle of your shoulders. Luke Donald's shoulders slightly open to his target, but not as open as they are where your shoulders are at the beginning of the session, and later on when we worked on that position, the shoulders that you've got there, again a little bit too much open in relation to your target. We'd like to have those shoulders a little bit squarer, but again a little bit more work with the drills, trying to get your club into the right position, delivering it from the right side, from the right path into the golf ball, and that should certainly square your shoulders up a little bit more. So we gave you a few drills to work on. If you got any problems with those, just give us a call. But good luck with it, and I'll see you again soon.